Welcome with 101. I'm Dexter, I'm your host, and this is Dexter Rush Hour. Last week's game was significant and insignificant. Insignificant that it doesn't count, the stats doesn't count, but it's significant for a lot of players who's really want to make the football team, and this is their livelihood. And so they wouldn't be here if they didn't want to make the team, and I think that some players made an impact. I thought Devin Thomas, he seemed to be a stud player. He run good routes. He's still relatively young. I was surprised to hear that he was even on the bubble, but in the local media around here, they kept saying he's on the bubble, he needs to do this, do that. But he stepped up to the plate. When he had to make the catches, he caught the ball. I was a little surprised that Robert Henson was let go. I think he did an outstanding job. I thought maybe he could have contributed more on special teams, and that's probably the reason they let him go. I'm so glad you asked me that question because I saw Danny White sitting there like a duck. You know, he couldn't move, and I was coming like a freight train, and I really wanted to get there more so he wanted to release that ball. And when I got there, I wanted to give him all my might. I'd run over my grandmother, my wife, and my daughter to get to Danny White. And so, yes, I did know that he would not return.
Hey, Dex, is there a different vibe in the locker room when you play against Dallas?
Yeah, here's the deal. This is our home stadium. You got wives here, you got children, grandparents, relatives, and we playing in front of 96,000 people. And I know when you playing in front of 96,000 people, you're not gonna let the enemy come in your backyard and whoop you in front of your wife and your children. So I say to you, what do you want? Who wants this the most? You gotta believe you can win. And I'm saying to you today, you teammates, you guys, go out here and kick butt, take names, and make us all proud. Reach in your pocket today and find joy and make your ancestors proud. You must run your own race today, and you can run a good race. So go play football. What's the question? Do I follow college football? Yes, I'm always excited about college football. It reminds me of my college days. I tell Lydia all the time, at this time of year, I can remember on this day, and I guarantee the audience can't tell me. And I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I was going to Oklahoma State. I was a freshman straight out of Houston Yakes, straight out of the ghetto. And I remember August the 16th, 1977. That was a famous person that died. And I remember that so vividly because that was a guy named Charlie Alexander. I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because this is our show, and I feel like I have the liberty and the latitude to say this. And so all of a sudden, here come this brand new cougar coming up here, and I'm thinking, okay, that's for me. And but this famous guy died. I sit in the car, and this guy was remember we turned the radio on. We were sitting there, and we were talking. And I'll be darned. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. I got fans out here. Yeah. Who died on August the 16th? You got it.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And the guy was sitting in there crying, and I sort of got emotional, but I kept remembering, straight out of the ghetto, I got a brand new car here. Hey, give me my keys, man. And so, but I remember finishing that practice at Oklahoma State University. It was hot. And I hadn't been in a big stadium like that, and it was just a great feeling. And so college football, I'm a big fan of college football, particularly Oklahoma State University, who just beat Washington State 65-17 last week. And I always like watching University of Maryland. I think you need to upgrade your program. But I will say that I think the best football in the country is the Big 12 and the SEC. That's it. That's a good question. What was some of my items in my locker? And I tell you who I locker next to, and I tell you, boy, he had some stuff in there. He had kind of like, he had baby powder, all kind of cologne. Mark Mosley, he had it all. Mark was a great guy, a friendly guy, but I mean to tell you, this guy had a locker stacked up like he was at, what's that dollar store? The dollar store. Well, we don't want to get that dollar store no ads, but okay, dollar store, you need to sponsor this segment. We're going to say the dollar store, okay? We need your money, and we need you to advertise right here. So anyway, Mark Mosley had a whole locker full of stuff. All thing I had in the locker was, I'll be quite frank with you. I remember a guy named Jan Russ. Jan Russ introduced me to a guy named Bruce Lee. You remember Bruce Lee? Some guy around here named, he was Taekwondo, and he had these pads in here you can wear. And I wore these pads. I wore them in a game. I get $500 a game if I wear them. So I had that kind of thing in my locker. And I have to tell you something else. I had a locker full of condoms. Because, you know, when you're young, you're out here, hey, you chasing the girls. So I had a lot of condoms.
All right.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say that on that because this is kind of a kid stuff, right? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm sure you guys will work with that.
Hey Dexter, did you have any superstitions before the game? Do you know anybody that had any unique superstitions before each game?
Well, I'll tell you a guy that I really admired a lot. I admired him for a lot of different reasons. He was a leader. He was a tough guy. And I couldn't always, every game when from 81 up until 85, I always see the guy read People's Magazine. That was Joe Theismann. He lay back, he just read People magazine. It's like I'm walking around with headsets on, listening to people like Luther Vandross, Freddie Jackson, and I'm tearing up the locker room. And so my thing was I just want to have some soft music to listen to because I think that's what to me it was. Life's all about and just sort of being prepared and going on stage and playing football. So to say that I was superstitious, I didn't have many. But I tell you, when you're straight out of Houston ghetto and really hungry for football, hey, you don't need a whole lot of superstition. Just put on the pads and look at those stars, and you already get pissed off. It's a classic week, Cowboys week, Cowgirls week, and I don't like the Cowboy. I don't like the Stars. I don't like Tex Strand for even thinking that they're the American team, and so I just dislike them. You know, I'd rather run over my mother than to like the Cowboys or cut off an arm than to have the Cowboys beat the Redskins. So I got to go, and I got a guest here, and we'll see you later.